We're live on the phone with a young lady from way out west. She's in California and had to get up mighty early to be our guest on Newsmakers. So we're very thankful. We have Nepala Pratini, who's an analyst with a company called NerdWallet Health. And Nepala, can you hear me?
I can. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, good morning, and thank you so much for rising bright and early before the sun even thinks about shining out there this morning.
Not a problem. Happy to be here.
Well, I'm going to give a real quick background. I received some information from your company about healthcare, North Carolina hospitals, and particularly Wayne Memorial Hospital, and found it quite interesting, so decided that this would be a great show for our listeners. And I'm going to start off right off the bat and say, what is NerdWallet Health?
Yeah, so that's a good question. A bit of a different name, I suppose.
Very different.
So, we are a website that provides people with transparent information, basically about how to save money on medical expenses. So anything from hospital bills to health insurance. And we do this by providing free tools and free articles that help users to become more informed healthcare consumers, so to really shop around and pick the best healthcare for their needs.
Well, that's certainly a great service that you provide, and we'll get into that a little bit more, but let's first go with, now you were the analyst that handled this particular project here in North Carolina. What is the basis behind your study of North Carolina hospitals?
Yeah, so we performed a study on most affordable hospitals in North Carolina, because we have a tool called Best Hospitals that shows really large price variations, especially in hospital prices. And we really want consumers to have access to this transparent health cost information. We know that people make healthcare decisions at a local level, you know, which local hospital, which doctor, et cetera, to go to. And cost oftentimes plays a major role in these healthcare decisions.
Well, that's very true, and this is so timely because we had somewhat of a battle here between our hospital and healthcare provider, which was the number one healthcare insurer, rather, not healthcare provider, but number one insurer in Wayne County. So this just could not be better timing in this information that's being presented. Now, in your analysis, you listed Wayne Memorial Hospital as number 4 in terms of cost-friendly to consumers. And this was for the entire state of North Carolina, correct?
That's correct.
So what was the criteria that you used?
Yeah, so I'll start with the data that we used to perform the study. It's inpatient charge data from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, so it's a national data set. And we ranked the hospitals based on how many of the most affordable treatments they offered as compared to other North Carolina hospitals. So Wayne Memorial has the 4th highest amount of most affordable treatments in the state. So if that answers your question.
Well, let me clarify that, because just in case somebody had a little confusion on hearing that, they had the highest number of affordable cost procedures, not the highest cost, but the highest number of affordable cost procedures, which is a pretty strong position to be in, number 4, throughout the entire state.
Right, that's exactly correct.
So what does this mean for consumers who are considering other regional hospitals, like perhaps WakeMed or Vidant? Because you said these were common procedures, correct?
Yeah, so it's the top 100 most common procedures. So for consumers, I think the takeaway is not that they should end-all, be-all go to Wayne Memorial. I think the takeaway is really that shopping around for healthcare is increasingly possible these days, and shopping around can potentially save you a lot of money. That's not to say that you should base all of your decision on that, but it's definitely a factor to take into account. So, you know, there are other things to consider: hospital quality, choice of doctor. If you want a specific physician, you'll want to go one place or another. But I think the residents of Wayne County should be aware that Wayne Memorial Hospital may be much more affordable than other local hospitals for certain procedures.
And that's very good news to know, without a doubt, especially for all the residents within this area. Another one of the findings in your report is that Wayne Memorial Hospital received a 60% satisfaction rating. Now, how did NerdWallet get that number, and what does that represent?
Yeah, so the number came from a survey called the Survey of Patients' Hospital Experiences, or HCAHPS, and it's a survey that's run at a national level, also by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, asks hospital patients about their experiences during a recent hospital stay. So it asks quite a variety of questions, but for the purposes of this study, and this has been done in other circumstances, we took satisfied to be the patients who reported that they would definitely recommend this hospital on the survey.
Okay, and can you share with us, or do you have the information available that tells what type of satisfaction? Now, I get what you say that if they would recommend it, but what did you base the dissatisfied on? That they would not recommend it?
Yeah, so this is, like I said, it's a national survey that's reported by the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, and they really just report the percent of patients who would definitely recommend. The data is broken down a little bit further, so who would probably recommend and who would not recommend. I don't have access to those numbers right now, but those numbers are available.
Right, and let's go ahead and give a plug for NerdWallet Health. If somebody wants to look at the information that you have provided with this analysis, how do they access that?
Yeah, so you can go to nerdwallet.com/health, and it's an article that's on our blog, so you can find the information there. You could also look in a little more detail on our Best Hospitals tool. So I think I mentioned that earlier, but Best Hospitals uses the same data that we used in this study, allows you to enter your location and any medical procedure, and will tell you which local hospital is most affordable, and some other details like patient satisfaction also. And we also break down the patient satisfaction rating into a few different metrics.
Well, as always, my friend Dr. Atkins has just impeccable timing. And so yesterday we had Napala Pratini from NerdWallet.com, and it was about NerdWallet Health. And she talked about Wayne Memorial Hospital. She did a study and revealed the results and shared with us that North Carolina, Wayne Memorial has the fourth
least expensive
health
care in the state of North Carolina. Obviously with Blue Cross and Wayne having had some discussions about this, and it has been has had an avid consumption of newspaper print in Wayne County over the last couple months. And it's interesting because, the NerdWallet people, I figured they were some kind of geeks by their name anyway. But they looked at how they got their funding or their dollars. It came from CNS Medicare reportable charges, which is what Wayne Memorial had said. The biggest thing about this is that it really puts a lot of egg in the face of Blue Cross.
It does.
You can call it spin. You can call it just not telling the truth. We like to think that Americans are truthful. We like to think that our businesses are truthful. Even in the Bible, it says, thou shalt not commit or make false statements against thy neighbor. So where did Blue Cross come up with their stuff? Obviously, this independent organization, which I didn't realize they were in California until today, came up with basically the same sort of information that Wayne Memorial did. And it's disturbing to me. I mean, it reminds me of other large organizations that can spin things the way they want to, or tell partial truths, or perhaps misspeak, or perhaps whatever term you want to use to make them not look like they're telling the wrong thing. But I think it's important. We have some people in Wayne County who are actually on the board of directors at Blue Cross, and I hope you'll put the websites where this stuff came from on the web page so that people can print it off, or they can send a copy of it to these people. I mean, they need to be held accountable for their misspeaking and their misquoting and their misinformation, which they have told the people of Wayne County.
And I think the part that was so interesting that Napala talked about yesterday was these were common and most frequently utilized services at Wayne Memorial Hospital, which goes back to what Georgia D. said many times when we interviewed her, that they were cherry-picking.
Right, yeah.
It's, a procedure that might have been done 6 times in an entire year. Well, that's
different.
That's just like if you go to the grocery store and you want something organic that isn't on their regular
and
rotation.
It's not even in season.
Exactly, and they have 4 of them there. You're going to pay a premium.
Yes, you are. If you want blueberries in the middle of January, they're not going to come from a local grower.
Right.
And they're going to cost more.
Sure.
And so you're right, and that's the issue. And of the top 10, Chapel Hill was number 9, which is nice. Moses Cone was in there, which is number 10. So there were some larger hospitals. And the good thing, too, is when I looked at it, they're really sort of scattered around the state. And the other thing that's available is they have a computer program, which you probably mentioned before, but people can actually look at it, and apparently I haven't gone on to their little program to see what it can actually tell me about different hospitals, but so they have information. They're trying to make sure that people are knowledgeable, and that's the bottom line. As healthcare consumers, as healthcare individuals, you need to be knowledgeable about what's going on. Knowledge is power, and the more you know, the better off you're going to be. And so I'm glad that NerdWallet did this. I'm glad it was picked up by the Triangle Business Journal. The Triangle Business Journal was a little unhappy because there was only one Triangle hospital that was made the top 10, and that was Chapel Hill. They really wanted to see more, I think, from some of their comments. But at least Chapel Hill did make the top 10, and I was pleased with that, too, because I think they have a good system there as well.
Yeah, and I think that what impressed me so much is in talking to her, there was no hiding behind, because I feel like so many changes and a lot of what went on with Blue Cross Blue Shield was a direct result of Obamacare or the Affordable Care Act, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And so when I talked to Napala yesterday, I said, is this the reason, that these things are happening and your study's being done, is it a cause and effect of Obamacare? And she said, absolutely.
Right. Yeah.
And that's why they're out there doing what they're doing, which is, assuring people that they can shop around, so to speak, and healthcare is changing.
And they need to shop around. I mean, you need to know what's going on. And I hope, I'm sure that probably Wayne Memorial probably won't toot their horn because they don't really, a lot of people don't like to toot their own horn. And I don't have a dog in this fight, but I mean, and I understand that. We don't like to brag about ourselves, but I really hope that Wayne Memorial will get the word out about how they rank. I mean, they were in the top third of all hospitals in this country with quality issues. That came out a couple months ago. Now they're the 4th cheapest or least expensive, I don't like the word cheap, 4th least expensive hospital in the state of North Carolina. I mean, there ought to be billboards.
You're exactly right. And especially after the barrage of attacks
right.
for so many months.
Yeah. I mean, they need to come out and say, look at us.